Leafs and the Ottawa Senators getting set for Game 2 of this series. The teams are ready at center ice. Fourth line starting for the Maple Leafs. And the puck is dropped, and we're underway, and we're glad you're with it as it goes down into the Ottawa zone. And this crowd is revved up the way it was the other night. Senators have it back at their own goal. Taking their time with the pass, and it is Jensen getting it ahead at center, but knocked away there by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Cleared ahead, and another hit as it goes down towards the Leaf goal. Grabbed off by Benoit. Bank pass ahead to the line. Fed in by Lorenz, and it'll go around back of the net. Cleared up on the boards, and it's blocked by the Leafs there. Played into the corner for Lorenz. Lorenz gets it freed up for Lawton. Lawton back to the point. D to D. It comes to McCabe, a shot. And that was deflected to the side of the goal. It comes in front. And it's grabbed off there by David Perron and played to center ice. Changes for the first time for both teams. McCabe back in his own zone to Chris Tanev. Tanev got it ahead to Tavares. Up on the wing it goes, and now Pontus Holmberg gets it in over the line, but he was ridden off on the far boards. Senators back to the goal. Pinto got it up on the wing, and it's off a stick to center ice. Bouncing puck was in over the line. Grabbed off by Shane Pinto. He'll play it around back of the net. Chipped along the boards for Riley, and Riley gets it to Nylander, who gets it to Carlo. In on the left wing now. Holmberg in! And a save made by Linus Ullmark. Puck is set in front of the goal. It'll come back to the point. Brandon Carlo along the boards for Nylander. Back of the net for Tavares. He can't make a move as it comes back up on the far boards. And Michael Amadio trying to get it out. Finds Artem Zub, who will carry to the red line and just shoot it into the Toronto end. This has started off, Mr. Ralph, like game one. Anything that moves gets hit.
Yeah, fourth line right away. A lot of hits.
Nyes carries to center. Missed a hit there from Zub as it goes down into the corner. A hit along the boards by Matthews. Stolen by Nyes. Back of the net. Nyes couldn't get it in front. Now he does! It hit the goal post. Marner rings it off the iron. Back in over the Toronto line with Stützle taking off the puck.
Boy,
Marner.
that was a wide open net. As Matthew Nyes from the side of the goal found Mitch Marner in front. And Marner rings it off the iron.
Played in over the line by Bobby McMahon. He hunts down his man with a hit along the boards as well. Domi trying to get it away from Nick Cousins. Cousins, who was not in the game the other night, is the only change. Matthew Highmore is the scratch. Played out at center ice for Zetterlund. Long shooting, and Anthony Stolars handles the puck for the first time. Puck in the Toronto zone, far board. Zetterlund off a stick. Control to the near side for Artem Zub. That was deflected away by Domi. Played back into the corner, and Domi is on his man there, trying to free it up. It's played up along the boards and into the corner again. Centering pass, knocked away. Oliver Ekman-Larsson was hit. Domi will get it to the line, but not out. Shot back in deep into the Toronto zone. Benoit to his defense partner, but it bounced over his stick, but now the Leafs get it freed up, and Nick Robertson will carry to center and send a bouncing shot in. That took a pretty good hop, didn't it?
And pretty smart play by Robertson. He was at the end of a long shift. I wasn't going to carry it any further. So the Leafs have the first two decent opportunities of the game. Pontus Holmberg walked in on the left wing side. And then Mitch Marner. I mean, Linus Ullmark isn't even covering half the goal on the short side. Marner got it away quickly.
Now, Ullmark has gone to the Ottawa bench. I'm assuming an equipment issue.
Boy, Chris Tanev was at the right point when Marner hit the play. He had already had his arms up in the air. But the Leafs will have to wait. Slight edge in the shots on goal early on, 2-1.
So it's a chest protector issue or a pant issue that is being adjusted by the equipment manager of the Ottawa Senators.
Been in that situation before where the official finally says, look, other guy goes in or it's a delay of game penalty.
And your guy
Oh, no, my coach said right away, we're putting the other guy in.
Actually, the problem was the equipment manager cut the scrap before you went out. That was the issue. Yeah. You can't trust those guys.
It was more underwear related than anything else.
Well, it looks like they have finally gotten it rectified. The referees tonight are Gord Dwyer and Pierre Lambert.
Well, you know what
James Tobias and Trent Knorr, the linesmen.
I apologize. One of the things we can do is again, a couple of shout-outs I wanted to give. Joe,
yep.
What a better time than now. Lloyd Fremlin in Sault Ste. Marie, regular listener.
Hey, Lloyd.
It's a friend of my dad's, and Jeffrey Rainey, who's a friend of my son Jesse's, listens every game up in the Newmarket, Aurora area. So we appreciate.
Yeah, absolutely we do. Draw to the right of the re-equipped Linus Ullmark. Draw one by the Leafs. Riley, D to D. Carlo with a shot, deflected just wide of the net. Back of the goal, Tavares tried to center in front, and it was knocked wide of the goal by Holmberg. Tavares coming out of the corner, slides it back to Nylander. Nylander stops up, into the corner with the centering pass. They score! Defenseman doing the job, Morgan Riley.
Riley jumped down from the left point. I think this just gets over the goal line, and Linus Ullmark sweeps it back out. That's why there was a delay, and John Tavares then put the rebound in, but it is in fact going to be Morgan Riley. And this might be off the left skate of the Leaf defenseman. He just turns his skate and deflects it. Coming down from the left point, great feed from Willie Nylander. And the Leafs have come out as Craig Berube wanted, on their toes.
Shoot in into the Toronto zone, grabbed off by Benoit, reversed on the left wing, and it is Lorenz dropping it off to the defenseman who gets it ahead, and it's deflected high into Ottawa territory. And that goal has got everybody inside and outside. Scotiabank Arena revved up. Backhanded to the Toronto blue line. A hit there, but the puck comes free to Lawton, and a delayed offside is going to be called because the stickless Ottawa player decided to continue the forecheck. And the whistle goes because of the infringement, and the faceoff comes back in front of the Ottawa blue line. Morgan Riley's second playoff goal of this series. Remember that low-scoring Toronto blue line core?
Yeah. Well, I mean, things have been great from the blue line to the fourth line.
Draw one by Toronto. Tanev plays it to his defense partner, Jake McCabe, up on the wing for Matthews, who will play it into the zone. Nyes goes into the forecheck against Zub. Matthews couldn't steal the puck. It comes free and brought out at center ice now by Sanderson. In on the left wing. Here's a shot that went well wide of the goal, and the Leafs unable to get to it ahead of Zub as it comes back into the slot area. Grabbed off by Sanderson. A shot blockered away there by the goaltender, and a penalty coming here.
They're calling it a high stick.
And it was on Brady Tkachuk.
Yeah, it was Chris Tanev may have got the stick up. I don't know how much contact was made, but Brady Tkachuk with the head snap.
From Nylander and Tavares at 3:45.
Nylander and Tavares draw the assists on the goal. And the Senators will go to their first power play of the game.
The stick did come up, but Travis Green accused the Leafs of selling some penalties in game one.
Oh, now here you go.
No, I'm just repeating what somebody said.
All right, fine. Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks.
That's a huge power play for Ottawa.
Stützle taking the face-off against Matthews. And they control it. Back to the point it comes. Passed off by Sanderson to Stützle. Back to Sanderson. Sanderson returns the favor. Stützle down low into the corner. Centering pass. Knocked down. Down is Stolarz, and he is sprawled out all 6'5" of that frame. And this time, unlike in game one, with that puck in the goal crease, he found it.
Yeah, this goes off the skate of Jake McCabe and settles right in the blue paint, and Stollers has to jump out and pounce on it before Tim Stützle could get there and chip it in. You like the positioning by McCabe, but almost a bad break for the Leafs.
Matthews will take the face-off against Tkachuk. And the draw won cleanly by Ottawa, but then stolen by the Leafs and poked out at center ice by the long reach of Brandon Carlo. Senators Sanderson back in his own zone. Gets it ahead and brought to the line by Drake Batherson in on the left wing for Tkachuk. Tkachuk tries to come to the front of the net. He does get it out in front, but it's broken up. Comes back to Sanderson at the point. Dished off on the left wing side to Stützle, back to Sanderson. Sanderson trying to play it back, but had it blocked, but it goes to the side of the goal. Centering pass! Blocked, the rebound, down to Stolarz again! And it's cleared around the ice and down off the boards into Ottawa territory.
Not sure if Stolarz made that initial stop or if Jake McCabe sprawled right in front of the Leaf goaltender got a piece of it first.
Senators can't get into the zone cleanly. Shabbat now sends it in. Blum back of the net. Leafs are going to ring it around the boards and down the ice it goes. 45 seconds left in the first power play of the game. Senators were 0 for 2 in game one. Brought in over the line by Perron. Back to the point it comes. Near side for Zetterlund and a shot into the chest of Stolarz. And he is picked up right where he left off. In game one. 6 shots on goal, and now we get some pushing and shoving with Giroux and Lawton.
They would have been teammates for a long stretch of their careers in Philadelphia.
Yep.
I thought maybe Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Joe, might have taken a high stick. Saw the head snap back.
He's talking to the official as he skates by him. There aren't going to be any penalties here, apparently.
Yeah,
I wonder if Nona is an approval of Mr. Lawton's activities. You read that story about his grandma, or his wife's mother.
His mother-in-law, yeah.
Mother-in-law making pasta for him. So a shout out to Nona.
Yes. And hockey players being superstitious.
I'm betting he had another delivery.
Yeah, between games.
Shot down into the Ottawa zone. 20 seconds left in the power play. 1-0 Leafs on an early goal from Morgan Riley. Brought in on the right side now by Cousins. A long shot went wide. Matthews gets a hold of it. Batted out of the air by Marner and played to center ice as the penalty will expire in 2 seconds' time. McCabe trying to play it out, but it's blocked. Stützle to the left wing side. A shot. Another big save made by Stolarz. That time off of Brady Tkachuk. Here's Stützle into the slot, a shot, and that went wide. Leafs are running around a little bit in their own end. Centering pass comes back to the point. Zub keeping it in. Sharp angle try, blocked, rebound, taken back at the net by Tanev. He settles things right down and gets it into the corner. Now we'll play it back to his defense partner, and everything is duckety-doo.
And with that power play, the Sens now out shooting the Leafs 7-3. So similar story to game one.
Morgan Riley gets the puck out at center. Sens bring it back in, but it's knocked off his stick into the corner. Riley got there first. Couldn't come up with it cleanly. It comes out in front of the Leaf goal. Pontus Holmberg will flip it around the boards to Riley, who will get it out at center. Brought on by Tavares. Left wing side. Here's Pontus Holmberg looking for a redirect, and it just missed the stick of Tavares. Pipped in by Nylander. Nylander closes a pass across. Off his stick, and it goes to Riley. Riley back in along the boards for Willie. Nylander working back towards the blue line. Dishes it off, and a shot in on goal is stopped. A tripping call coming to Ottawa.
Big saves, big kill, and an opportunity at the other end draws the first Ottawa penalty of the night.
Morgan Riley has the Leafs on the board. They go to the power play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Trish Stratus is in the house, along with Adam Copeland. They get a squared circle down there. We're going to have a heck of a bout.
Might as well have been one there last game.
Yep. Power play brought to you by Subaru. Hurry the all-in-one event. For great offers and experience, all the features that come standard in a Subaru. Leafs were 3 for 6, and it didn't take them very long.
No, 3 goals off the face-off, 20 seconds combined, the total.
Draw to the right.
Including Willie Nylander, 3 seconds after a face-off on the 5-on-3.
Draw to the right of Ullmark. Matthews taking the draw here against Shane Pinto. And the Leafs control the face-off. Marner, a pass in front of the net was knocked away. It comes back to Nylander. Nylander on the near half boards. Looks into the slot. Still with it. Creeping towards the middle of the ice. Into the slot area. It goes back to Marner. Marner down into the corner. Here's Tavares trying to center. They score! 2-0 Toronto! The power play is on fire!
Fired hard from the goal line. Matthew Knies in front. John Tavares, I don't know, does this go off the Ottawa defenseman, or does it go off Matthew Knies? Just from a sharp angle, John Tavares gets it to the net, and it bounces back out before ricocheting back into the empty cage.
I think it goes off Jensen, to be honest with you, Ralphie. But
so this could be John Tavares again. Yeah, they're both there. But what makes that goal is that Matthew Knies is exactly where he is. Top of the crease. You take a man with you. A little more room for everyone else.
There's Lorenz in across the line, flipping it into the left wing corner and going in there with a hit on Zub. Around the boards, the Leafs defense pinches in tandem to keep it in. Lorenz back at the net, too far for Lawton, and up on the right wing side, Giroux sends an airmail high to the Leaf blue line. Leafs get it back in their own zone, under control, and a quick pass up ahead is dropped off for Scotty Lawton. Across the line for Yarncrook. Played around the boards, but the defense won't pinch there. And Brady Tkachuk gets it out at center ice as Lorenz has his stick knocked out of his hands, and it is Stutzla getting it in across the line, only to have it knocked back out in center ice. Played down into the Toronto zone. Played quick. I'll let you comment about that in a second. Here's McMahon in across the line and down into the corner. McMahon working the boards, gets it freed up along the wall for Domi, and a wrist shot by McMahon was blocked. Domi trying to get it back to the point, battles for it. The puck is finally pushed out at center ice.
Well, that was Ron Hextall. I mean, that's when you know a goaltender, Joe, is starting to breathe with confidence. Because, I mean, Anthony Stolarz could have just dumped it off to the side and instead fires it up the left wing to the blue line for the Leafs in the early exit, and a perfect tape-to-tape pass.
While he was being heavily pressured. Yeah. Puck back of the Ottawa goal.
Tom Brady would have been proud of that.
Absolutely. 9:55 left to play in the first period. 2-0 Toronto. Riley playing the puck along the boards, and the Leafs get it up on the wing and now look for a pass. It'll go back now for Marner and played off the glass and out at center ice. Too far for Matthews to reach. Puck at center ice, grabbed off by Zetterlund. Zetterlund in over the line. Marner took the puck away from him, and it is brought out now by Brandon Carlo. He couldn't get it in deep, and the Senators have it at their own blue line. 2-0, the Leafs with the lead, and the goal is, in fact, John Tavares from Marner and Matthews on the power play. Leafs in their own zone. Tkachuk took a healthy run at a man, but the puck comes free, and the Leafs get it up on the left wing now for McCabe. He'll play it in off the stick of Pontus Holmberg into Ottawa territory. Round the boards to the far side for Tkachuk. He'll drop it back, get it again. Another pass comes out on the right wing, and a lead pass by Montepallo got to center ice. Tkachuk slammed into his own man there when he took a run, and Claude Giroux took the brunt of it. Shot back by Ottawa into the Toronto zone. Chipped along the boards, and out comes Bobby McMahon with speed through the neutral zone. In on the left wing, driving the net, then pulls up, got it through into the goal crease, no one there. It comes back to the blue line. Oliver Ekman-Larsson back to Domi. Wrist shot coming, but it was high and wide. Pinching down and keeping it in and around back of the net was Simon Benoit. Leafs get it back to the point. Ekman-Larsson on the wing, and a quick shot is kicked away there by Olmark. It may have in fact hit the side of the goal. Domi with it again around back of the net. He tries to center and he hit a skate. It's cleared along the boards, and pinching down there was Benoit, but it might have been ill-advised. But no, he's got a man back helping out, and it is cleared down into the Toronto zone. Good piece of work done there by Steven Lorenz. He realized the pinch on the other side was there and slid right into the defensive position along with OEL to take it a 2-on-2 instead of a 2-on-1. It is 2-0 Toronto. First period with 7:51 to go. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Riley from Nylander and Tavares. And then Tavares from Marner and Matthews. At 8:20 on the power play, and the Maple Leafs have a 2-0 lead over the Ottawa Senators.
A lot made of Alex Ovechkin's three-point game in his opener at his age. I would say John Tavares is equaling that output in less than 4 periods. Tavares has had an outstanding start to the postseason.
And the Toronto power play is scintillating.
And not a lot of pretty goals either.
No.
It's throwing it to the net.
Draw one by Ottawa, back to the point. Jensen with a long shot that's well wide of the goal. Matthews trying to control it in the corner, got it freed up for Tanev, and Tanev dishes it off, and Marner gets to center and sends a long backhand into the far corner. Nye's in there after it, can't come up with it. Pinching down, though, is McCabe to keep it alive. He sends it to an open corner, and Nye's trying to get an angle to get there. Nye's kicks it into the corner for Marner. Around back of the net for Matthews. Couldn't drag it back to the goal, but engages his man. That allows Nye's into the forecheck, but it is grabbed off by Shabbat, and he just launches it high down into the Toronto end. McCabe, good conversation there with Tanev to say, I got it, you go to the other side, and now I'll leave it with you. Communication so important. Left wing pass for Johnny Taverno. And across the line. Couldn't beat the defenseman one-on-one. Pontus Holmberg drags it back into the corner. Now works out of the corner to get it back to the point. Riley off to Nylander. Right wing side. Carlo is shot. And that is caught by Linus Ullmark. And he'll hold for a face-off in the Ottawa zone. And Ullmark's .750 save percentage is not improving.
It does suck when you start posting numbers after one game, right? By the way, Shane Pinto, a couple of hacks to the back of the leg of Pontus Holmberg before Holmberg turned around to shove back. And I mean, you look at the goals tonight. I mean, and let's not forget Mitch Marner hit the post as well. They weren't terrible goals. It's kind of an unfortunate bounces with the Leafs getting the puck to the net.
Nylander to Tavares, dropping it back. It'll come to the near side to Benoit. Benoit off Nylander's stick, deep into Ottawa territory. 6:28 to play in the first period. 2-0 Toronto. Along the boards. Nylander bodies his man and knocks him off stride. Then Nylander is taken to the boards by Zub. And the Senators have it under control in their own zone. Played out at center ice and then launched into the Leaf zone, and Benoit steps into Batherson and stops him in his tracks. Benoit gets an outlet pass up on the left wing for Scotty Lawton. Rink wide to the far side. Here's Yarncrook in, doesn't shoot it. Yarncrook while singing back to the net for Lorenz. Lorenz back to the point to Riley. Riley couldn't keep it in. It bounces and goes all the way back into the Leaf end. Quickly cleared to the other side by the other defenseman named Stolars. And now he's going to play it to this line, but not get it out initially, but it does come to center. He handles the puck so well.
I know, but I'm not as comfortable with him doing it as he obviously is.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to bypass you on this. I'm comfortable with it.
Well, just a couple where you're going. He makes the right plays.
Yes.
But you're going.
Hurry.
Yeah.
Robertson. A head off the stick of McMahon. Got in over the line but couldn't get around Thomas Chabot. Collision back at the net, knocked Chabot down, and the Senators get it to center ice and backhanded in over the line. Pinto getting it in deep. Chris Tanev with his head up, had it taken away though by Amadio. Amadio trying to come out in front of the net, and it's knocked back. A pass in front of shot, and it went off of Tanev but went wide. If he's 2 more feet closer to the net, that goes in off of him. McCabe playing it up on the boards for Bobby McMahon. McMahon getting his stick on it to get it out, and down into Ottawa territory, and a change coming for both teams.
And the Leafs have been good, but I tell you, they've been getting every bounce so far in the blue paint here early in this game.
Now here the Leafs in over the line with Nyes, and he stacked a wrist shot high and wide of the goal. Back to the point. Into the corner it goes to Marner. Marner back into the far corner for Matthews. Matthews curling back towards the blue line, sends it towards the net with a good screen in front by Nyes, and Olmark just did get a piece of that. Played out and down the ice. It'll be controlled and played into the corner by Stolars, and now tipped ahead, and Nyes comes to the red line and backhands into the zone and peels to the bench with 3:50 to go, and every shift is being saluted here by 18,000 in the building. Here's a pass in for Nylander. Can't drive the net. Flings it back towards the blue line, but lost it, and it's cleared out at center ice and now shot into the Toronto zone. Riley gets back to get it back at the net for his defense partner, Brandon Carlo. Off a skate it comes, and out comes Tavares. Left wing side, Riley into the rush. He'll play it into the side of the goal. Johnny T has it back of the net, trying to poke it along for Pontus Holmberg. Now it almost came out to him. Now Nylander on the half boards at the far side. In front for Tavares. Couldn't spin to get a shot away. And the Senators are going to get a change started with 3:05 to play in the first period. 2-0 Toronto. Played back into the Leaf zone, and an icing call will come here against the Senators.
You know, the crowd is into it when you get a big roar for an icing call against the opposing team. As it will come down to the right of Linus Hallmark as the Domi line will come out. Bobby McMahon's coming. I mean, he's obviously due.
He's out there now.
To find the back of the net.
Draw one by the Leafs. Tanev to the point. Long shot went well wide of the goal. Caroms to Cousins on the far side, and Nick Cousins into the lineup. Had it roll off his stick, and it is McCabe getting it up ahead, and Robertson backhands it out at center ice. Robertson trying to steal it back, and Domi has done it for him. He'll play it back to OEL, and up on the wing it goes to Benoit. Benoit diagonal shooting into the far corner. Leafs are changing again. 2.5 minutes to play in the first period. Goal scorers have been Riley and Tavares. At center ice, Michael Amadio trying to get across the line and failing to do that. And the Leafs' fourth line is back out again. Here's Benoit getting it ahead, and Lawton sends it right back into the zone. Good hit there by Yarncrook. Lawton trying to trap on the near boards. Gets it into Lorenz. Around the boards, it'll go to OEL. He'll backhand it deeper into the corner. Back of the net, Lawton centering in front of the net. And it was picked off by Shane Pinto, who got it to the line and not out yet. But now the Senators are able to skate it out to center. Chabot in on the right side. The veteran sends it around the boards to the far wing, and there's Tkachuk after it. Puck comes around for the Leafs, and it'll be cleared to the line and out past Artem Zub and out at center ice. 1:38 to play in the first. Tkachuk sends it in over the line. Into the corner, a running hit there against McCabe, but he evaded that. Tanev gets it up on the boards, and now will play it to an open wing, and Matthews is there to take it back into his own zone and regroup. A pass ahead for Marner. Marner couldn't get away from Zub. Zub got it back in over the line. It rolls into the corner with 1:13 to go in the period. Chipped along the boards, and now here's the captain bringing it out at center ice down the left wing boards. Flips it into the corner, and a whistle here. Are there too many men on the ice?
No, I think they're going to say that Matthews didn't get the red line here. Just
okay. Well, the linesman was pointing at a lot of players, and I thought he was counting, but you're right. It's who was on the ice has to stay on. And so the face-off will be in the Toronto zone, which is a lot better than you are going to the penalty box because there were 6 of you.
Yeah, and with that, Jake McCabe gets sent back off. I was going to say Morgan Riley was on the ice when the icing occurred. Pretty important face-off to the left of Anthony Stolarz.
1:04 to play in the period. Giroux will take the draw against Austin Matthews. And everybody moving. We got a warning. Same players remain in the circle. And the draw is scrummed. It goes into the corner. Giroux getting it back to the net for Cousins. Back to the point it goes. Long shot goes well wide of the Leaf goal. It'll come to the near side. Batherson's shot blocked there by Matthews. Played into the corner and Tanev trying to control it. Plays it back to the net. A centering pass. Blocked. The puck is still in the goal crease or in the slot area. And now grabbed off by Nyes. And he's going to get it out. Pokes it to the blue line. Long lead pass has gone astray, and an icing call coming here against Ottawa.
Well, a second effort by Matthew Nyes. First to finally battle for the loose puck, and then secondly to make a nice little move to knife it out. And very nearly, I think if it was earlier in the shift, Joe, he might have had the wheels to take off and chase that down the right wing side. Turns out the Leafs will get the face off in the Ottawa zone on the ice with 32.6 seconds to go here in the first.
Tavares scrums the draw, got it back to the point. OEL holds to the right wing side. Nylander a shot into the chest of Ullmark and held.
Now, it's, Ottawa still wants to. We got an Ottawa Senator now. It's Claude Giroux chasing John Tavares around. And there's another one. Tavares going to the net, and Giroux hacks him on the back of the leg and then follows him to the... And that's one of those things that you're saying, this ain't going to work. It's not intimidating to have somebody follow you. And it's not like John Tavares is going to say, sorry, I won't go back to the front of the net. Promise.
Yeah, you taught me a lesson. Face off in the circle to the left of Ullmark. Won cleanly this time by Shane Pinto. And played high to center ice. Grabbed by Ridley Gregg. Gregg gets in over the line. And offside is called. Gregg was taken down by Tavares in the back check. 17.1 seconds remaining in the period.
And I don't think it was taken down. I think that was trying to draw the penalty.
You're just not a nice person when you kind of assess things.
That's really not the point. It's I think you did that little spin away from Tavares and pulled the Speedos up as high as they'd go, and down he went.
Maybe he has an OnlyFans account.
You've just learned all about that, haven't you?
I have.
Yeah.
We're going to start one, you and I. We're going to raise some money. What do you think? Oh, come on. Yeah. Oh, sure.
You might want to look into that.
Yeah, a little more. Long shot juggled and smothered by Stolarz. And then a late hit. Who was that?
That Pinto
Cousins.
Again. Shabbat was in there. Pinto. They got pushed into the goaltender. I mean, those are the things where, to me, you kind of draw the line. No, this isn't.
Yeah,
Pinto's there, but it was Scott Lawton sort of lost his balance more than he got shoved. Stolarz talking to the official about it. 12.1 seconds to go.
Important face-off in the Leaf zone. Giroux taking it against Tavares. And the draw won by Ottawa. Pass back to the point. Long shot. And there's Stolarz again. And there's Tkachuk and McCabe shoving at one another.
And then Chris Tanev calmly comes between the two battlers and says, all right, we're good. We got enough.
7.8 seconds to go. And a face-off in the circle to the right.
So it's now 10-7 favoring the Ottawa Senators. Right now, I mean, the Leafs have looked to be the more dangerous team, Joe. But both goals, deflections in the blue paint, both off skates. And we saw at the other end of the ice, Jake McCabe had one go off, a skate didn't go in. One went off Chris Tanev, went wide.
Draw won by Matthews into the corner. Tanev will take it around back of the net. Final 3 seconds ticking down. Tavares runs some interference there for Matthews. And there's the horn. A solid first period for the Maple. Wait, hang on here. We got Batherson trying to get at somebody. And McCabe is escorting Tkachuk over to his side of the ice, saying, your room is that way. Well, and the Leafs will go to the dressing room, and you can sense that maybe things unraveling a tad still for Ottawa.
And we saw that with Batherson last game, didn't we? And it's, if you want to play it, if you want to make it your priority, you say, go right ahead. But the Leafs would be ill-advised to join the party here with a 2-0 lead after one.
Riley and Tavares score the goals. The Leafs with a 2-0 lead after 20 minutes in Game 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. We are back as the Leafs and Senators come onto the ice to start the second period. A 2-0 Toronto lead. Senators outshoot the Leafs 10-7. The Leafs out-hit the Senators 16-9, which was kind of interesting. In Game 1, Ottawa had 56 hits, the Maple Leafs 30. And of the 56 hits, I asked you, and I didn't think you'd come up with it as quickly as you did. Who led the Ottawa Senators in hits?
Well, the only reason I guessed, because if you were asking, it would be someone you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
So I said Tim Stützle.
9.
Yeah.
And then I asked you, of the 30 Toronto hits, how many do you think Chris Tanev had?
And I said 6, thinking it would be low.
Yeah, and it was 0.
Which is pretty low.
Where are the analytics people when stuff like this comes out? So why would we have Chris Tanev in the lineup when he doesn't hit anybody?
Now, I know there is a theory. I remember talking to Peter Mahovlich years ago when Peter was scouting when the Red Wings had those great teams that were winning Stanley Cup, Zetterberg and Datsyuk. And he said he saw Detroit play a couple days earlier. He said the only thing is, he said they're not very physical. They don't hit anyone. He said then I realized they have the puck all the time.
Pretty tough to hit people when you're carrying it. We're ready to go. Puck is dropped. Leafs to the left and the Senators to the right as it's chipped down into Ottawa territory. Out of the net is Ullmark to play it around the boards. Blocked there by Carlo. And a long shot is kicked away by Ullmark. And it's up on the far boards and played to center ice now for Pinto. Shane Pinto got a wrist shot away, but it was partially blocked. And now Morgan Riley sending it out into Ottawa territory, forcing his man back, and Clevin will get it to the line and out. Matthews chipping it back in. Leafs have to tag up. Tkachuk starts at center and gets it in over the line. Stützle going to the front of the net, but the pass went off a stick and up into the screen and out of play. Face-off coming in the Toronto zone as a result.
I'm talking to some people up here between periods, and the discussion is that through the 4 periods, it seems that every member of the Leafs in the lineup in the last 2 games, they have a purpose that they've embraced. And that included the 4th line. And when you can get your 4th line taking pride in that role, and we've seen it. And you go back to early 90s, Joe?
Yep. What was one of the best lines back then?
The Zezel line?
Yes, Osborne? Zezel, Berg, and Osborne. And today is Peter Zezel's, or would be, his birthday. We lost him so very, very early in his life.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zezel, Berg, and Osborne. They were a miserable bunch to play against. And Mark Osborne had played with Eddie Olczyk and was one of the higher scoring players, but he embraced
that role,
the checking line, and Zezel, Berg, and Osborne were...
It's not the glory.
Nope.
It's not the minutes. But boy, the importance of it.
Now, Gilmore played on every other line, but that line, Pat Burns kept intact.
Yeah.
And in order to give Dougie a rest, they went on the ice. Draw won by the Leafs and shot in by Benoit. Chipped along the boards and into the near corner. Domi couldn't come out with it, and it's stolen by Robertson, but he couldn't get it free. And it comes to center ice, and it is shot into the Toronto zone. Far side, Benoit playing it back behind the net into the near corner. Swept along the boards and cleared to the line and out and brought to center and one-handed down into the zone by Bobby McMahon. He barges into the corner there with Jensen. Puck to the far boards. Robertson got a piece of his man, but Jensen is able to push the puck out at center ice, and Cousins gets in over the line with a weak shot that was handled easily by Stolars. Tanev off the boards and out and down into Ottawa territory. Long lead pass finds Nick Cousins in the neutral zone, and as he played it in on the right wing, there was offside.
That was quite a delay, though, between Ottawa crossing the line and the whistle going. Well, looking at the replay of it, probably looks like it was 3 or 4 feet offside on the right wing side. The Leafs have had the advantage in the face-off dot as well, 57%. John Tavares, who's so good, only 3 of 6.
Shot deflected wide of the goal by Stolars into the near corner. Centering pass, good save by Stolars. Centering again, and a wrist shot there by Gregg went off a leg and went wide. Here's Sanderson, a drive, and Stolars right out at the top of the crease. And Brandon Carlo making sure no one was going to get near him as he swallows that up, and another face-off in the Toronto zone. But the Senators have started quickly here in the second period, down 2-0.
And you're right. The key to that, I mean, you've already got the God-given size that Anthony Stolars was born with. But now you got that shot coming from the top of the left wing circle. Stolars is out to the top of the crease, and there is very little room when he's there and just absorbs it.
His wingspan is like a condor. It's a bird, big bird, condor.
Yep.
Far side now, the shot coming in on goal is blocked. Grabbed off by the Leafs and flipped high to center ice. Knocked down there by Yarncrook, but he couldn't get it away, and the Sens will get it to the line and in again. Pass into the slot area, but Stützle couldn't get a shot away. He gets it back to the point, just kept in. Comes to the near side to Clevin. Back into the slot, a shot blocked there by the Leafs. Lorenz, and it's chipped out at center ice. Fourth line on here for Toronto. Sens get it up on the wing, and Stützle across the line. Back into the corner. Stützle forced wide there by Lawton. It'll come back to the point. Near side for Clevin. Clevin into the slot area. Stützle trying to turn, is taken down. And a penalty is coming here to the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, this, even though Stützle has been criticized at times. Who'd they give it to, Joe? It was Yarncroc, I think, that got, it's Yarncroc that got the stick blade into the feet of Tim Stützle. I mean, it's a penalty. The crowd is giving it a big awe, but it's a pretty simple call.
Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. 2-0 Toronto, and the power play for Ottawa. Second of the game. They win the face-off. Sanderson back to the point. Dishes off on the right wing side, and a shot. And again, Stolars with the glove. And then a late hit there by Tkachuk. And a stern talking to coming here, nose to nose with the official. Wow, that'll straighten things out.
He won't do that again.
No, he won't. Not be in the bad books. Draw to the left. Scrummed by the Leafs, but it is grabbed off by Cousins. In along the boards. A pass blocked and brought to center ice, and now Matthews works in over the line with one man back. Got a shot away. It comes to Marner. He has it taken away, and it's a 3-on-2 break here for Ottawa. Here's Tkachuk passing in, and it went wide of the net, down back of the net, as Stützle couldn't come up with it. Back for Tkachuk out in front. Played back to the blue line to Sanderson. Off on the right side it goes. Cross ice now for Stützle. Back it comes to Sanderson on the far side. Giroux looking for a centering pass, and it went right through the goal crease. Sanderson with it again. Holding to the right wing side, and a shot. Big save by Stolars. Another save by Stolars' foot. Shot from a sharp angle stop, and it's knocked high into the corner on the far side. Stützle with it again. getting it back to the point to Sanderson, to Stützle. Stützle into the slot, drops for Sanderson, off on the right wing side. Giroux looking for a man in front, passes down for Brady. Poke check adroitly there by Stolars. He takes it away from Tkachuk, and the Leafs ice the puck with 42 seconds left in the penalty. Back come Ridley Gregg, getting it in over the line, dropping it back for Shabbat. Onto the right wing side, it'll come back to Shabbat, high in the slot to the right wing side again, a centering pass, blocked there by Benoit, centering into the goal crease, and it came into the near corner. Back to the point, Shabbat again, over on the right wing side once more, and a shot blockered away by Stolars. Penalty is 12 seconds left in it. Down into the corner it goes, Gregg getting it cleared, and the Leafs get it out and around the boards, and down the ice it goes. On their feet again.
Ridley Gregg and Stolars. Stolars going back to his net. Ridley Gregg trying to go behind him along the goal line, and Stolars drops him.
Is there a penalty here?
I don't know if there's a whistle, but you would think Ridley Gregg has got to be the one that goes.
Well, he's heading back towards the penalty box.
I don't know if Stolars is getting one as well. The Leaf penalty gate is not open. The officials are now having a discussion on it.
Now they're going over to talk to Craig Berube.
41 has a minor penalty interference. Ottawa 71 minor penalty for roughing.
No, they're going to give Stolars a penalty for roughing.
This is a bit of a gift, I think, for Ottawa. I mean, Stolars is simply standing in his own net, and Ridley Gregg. Well,
I mean, how do you give Gregg a penalty?
Well,
right?
To me, it's goalie interference. You've gone into the crease and made contact with the goalie. Right?
I suppose, but I mean, if you're going to give Stolars a penalty...
Well, if you're going to give Stolars a penalty, Stolars should have got his money's worth.
Yes, exactly.
He didn't actually, neither one of them did. But I'm sure from the official side, Joe, they just don't want things to escalate as we saw them do that. I mean, it's just a 2-0 lead in the second period, so it's not as if this game is a rout by any means. But again, it's Ottawa's attempt to try to be
Gregg did this
physical.
in game one a couple of times.
And Batherson
sliding into Stolars. So, Yarncrook has 2 seconds left in the penalty.
Now, somebody's got to serve the Stolars penalty. There's nobody in the box yet for that, because in 2 seconds, Yarncroc gets out, and they'll play 4-on-4.
And so it looks like, is it Scott Lawton who's going to serve the penalty, or he's talking to the official here now?
Well, it looks like the three are going to be Tavares.
Did it have to be somebody who was on the ice? And that might be the issue that they have now as to who was physically on the ice. Otherwise, Nick Robertson would probably end up serving the penalty, right?
You got Tavares out. Even though the Leafs are down a man, at least the face-off is at the other end of the ice, too, to the left of Ullmark.
And Nylander coming over the boards to be the fourth Toronto player.
Yeah, but Yarncroc's not out yet. Okay, 5 on 4. All right, here we go.
There you go. Draw to the left in the Ottawa zone. Tavares leaning in. 15:06 to play, second period. 2-0 Toronto. And the draw scrummed, and Ottawa control, and the door opens. Yarncroc is on, and he's going to scamper to the far side and get a replacement on as Sanderson comes in over the line on the left wing boards. Played down into the corner in the Toronto zone. A centering pass is whipped over top of the goal by Shane Pinto. Trapped at the far point and rolls to the side of the net. And there is Stolars handling that, and then Shane Pinto tries to roll into the goaltender, and the Leaf defense decides, no, that's not the way you're going, and Oliver Ekman-Larsson fires Pinto in the opposite direction.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of Ottawa players that I'm trying to be too smart. I didn't realize were so chippy. Shane Pinto being one of them. certainly appreciate him as a penalty killer, depth guy, a guy that can score. But seems to be going out of his way after scrums.
Draw one by Cousins, back to the point. Shabbat holds, got a shot away. Again, in traffic this time. Goaltender Stolarz able to get the left glove out there, catch it, and hang on. Face off again in the Toronto zone. But the shots, as was the case in game one, that when the Leafs were outshot, they've been outshot 18-8 here and have just one shot on goal in the second period. Senators have 8. Played around back of the Toronto goal. A wraparound attempt comes to the side of the net. And again it is stopped there by Stolarz. Puck into the corner now for Benoit. Flipping it high but not out. Jam play at the blue line and it's brought out and in offside. Good play made there by Pontus Holmberg to engage the defenseman to get it out.
Simon Benoit as well coming over to throw his blade into it. Yeah, 19-8 overall, 8-1 the shots here in the second period for Ottawa. Now they start to get an early power play here in this period to help build that, but Leafs have to get back on their toes, as Craig Berube said, coming into this game.
Face off outside the Toronto line, and Domi wins the draw cleanly. Pass ahead, chipped in over the line by Bobby McMahon, on goal, cleared back of the net, and out come the Senators now with a pass out at center ice for Tkachuk, and across the line, trying to work down into the corner. Hit to the boards there was McCabe. That took down Tkachuk along with Tanev, but the Leafs have the puck out at center, and Robertson is into the zone. Plays it around back of the net for Domi. Domi trying to free it up there for Bobby McMahon. Domi gets it in the corner on the near side, back for McMahon. McMahon getting it back to the point for Brandon Carlo. A pass goes off a stick, and it is controlled by Ottawa, and they're going to get it out into neutral ice and carry to the Leaf blue line. In on the right side, into the corner, Giroux trying to center, and it went wide. Into the near corner and around the boards. It'll trap to the far side to Stützle. Stützle back to the point, and a shot well wide of the goal by Zub, and the Leafs trying to clear, don't get it out. Zub keeping it in, but a good play by Carlo. And then he made a bad play by Carlo.
Yeah, he had to try to go back behind the net and put it off his stick. And it took a strange care. Unfortunately, Stolarz was able to read it. And when it came out the short side on the post, put his hand on it. Nick Robertson before that had more time than he thought. He would have been able to turn and skate it out, tried to chop it, and it was kept in easily.
2-0 Toronto. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Second period brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian Ultra Export or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it.
Leafs got to turn this around here in the second period. Longer the puck's in your own end. I mean, like we said, both Leaf goals have gone in off skates. And Ottawa is increasing their odds of getting a similar kind of goal because of all the offensive zone time they've had here in the second.
Leafs get it out into neutral ice. Stolen back by Nyes. He'll give it to Brandon Carlo. Carlo comes to his defense partner and then gets it returned, and he'll play it quickly out to the line, but Matthews is there to send a long lead pass, but it was cut off nicely by Zetterlund. Zetterlund gets it in on the left wing. Trying to get it freed up there, the Leafs Marner. The puck goes into the corner and played back of the net for Riley. Quickly played to the far side. Nyes couldn't help out. Riley will try the other side. Brandon Carlo playing it out, and now Marner engaged there, but the Leafs are able to play it to an open wing, and Nyes gets it in over the line, but at the end of a shift, he just chips it in. Been the issue. The Leafs have not had time in the neutral zone or the offensive zone to kind of get a flow going here in the second period.
Back time defending at the long end of the ice.
Flipped around the boards, it hits the line or the referee, but Tavares has it out into neutral ice. He'll get to the red line and flip it in. Benoit was going to go into the rush, but had to slow up at the blue line to stay on side. Now it is cleared up on the wing, and now here are the Leafs with Pontus Holmberg finding Nylander open on the left wing. He's in over the line. Passes into the slot for Tavares. Can't get a shot away. Dropping it back to the blue line, and Tanev was unable to keep it in. but he gets it back to the defense. And now Nylander off the boards, can't get it in, and Tanev will have it handed right back to him as he plays it to Tavares, who sends it in over the line. Tavares along the boards, gets some support from Pontus Holmberg, and the teams are changing as the Sens get it out at center, and Cousins rolls it into the Toronto end. Round back of the net, far side. Flipped ahead, and out comes Calle Järnkrok to center and plays it into himself into the left wing corner. He goes down around back of the net, but the Senators have taken it away, and Nick Cousins comes back at center for Ottawa. Trying to split the defense. Tanev would have none of that, and is played up on the wing on the near side. Brought out by Lorenz. A pass ahead for McCabe. McCabe into the slot area, and it was knocked wide of the goal. Järnkrok plays to an empty wing, and the Senators are there trying to work out. Domi into the forecheck is the third line coming on for Toronto. Played to the line, Domi and Marner getting back after it. Boy, there's a real hodgepodge out here now. You got Marner out with Lorenz and Domi. And now Lorenz heading to the bench, and it'll be Matthews joining Nyes and Marner. Nyes comes out of a scrum with it, a pass to the far corner for Matthews. Back to the point, it'll go to Morgan Riley, D to Carlo. Carlo with a wrist shot, big rebound in front of the net, and Nyes couldn't get his stick on it. Played down into the Toronto zone. Centering effort blocked, rebound in front of the goal, and Pinto took a slash at it, but it was blocked, and now it's cleared off his stick down into Ottawa territory. 15 seconds away from the midpoint of the second period. Still 2-0 Toronto, built in the first. To the Leaf blue line. Oliver Ekman-Larsson finds Tavares. A chip pass looking for Pontus Holmberg. Ends up on Willie's stick, but he couldn't get in over the line before it was knocked off his stick. Senators back into the Toronto end, into the slot for Stutzler. Shot, can't save, and the rebound is taken to safety by Tavares, who carries to center. He'll send a diagonal shooting into the right wing corner. Holmberg got there first, tried to center. Tavares was there. It goes into the corner. Holmberg working out of the corner with it on his backhand. Stick handles into the slot, but didn't deliver a payload shot as it's cleared back to center ice. Tanev. Leafs coming on a little bit here in the offensive department. Played it in over the line. Tanev getting it to Domi. Domi with a wrist shot. That went off a body and wide. Robertson back to Domi and had it knocked off his stick. And the Senators will try to work it out at center ice. And Perron gets to the line and in. Perron with a shot. Easy save made there by Stolarz. Leafs get it airmailed high into neutral ice. It'll bounce back into the blue line area. Played quickly ahead for Batherson. Batherson got it across the line, and it's backhanded around back of the net. Riley takes a hit. Carlo gets it up on the wing. It's backhanded out over the line, and a collision there with McMahon and Tyler Clevin, and a whistle here.
Hand pass,
I think. Yeah, we'll wait and see.
I tell you, he's not having fun right now.
No, I'm having a great time.
Linus Ullmark. I mean, neither goal were his fault. Off skates in the crease. The shots are 20-1. Anthony Stolarz is standing on his head at the other end, and you're in overtime. You cannot give up the next goal.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. 2-0 Toronto with 8:44 left to play in the second period. Face off right at the center ice dot.
The other thing with not spending any time in the Ottawa zone, your odds of drawing a penalty. Getting that red-hot power play back out there.
Although, in Game 1, where were the penalties incurred?
Yeah, all in the Leaf end.
Lawton with Lorenz and Järnkrok for Toronto. And the draw won by Steven Lorenz, and the Leafs have it off the boards, and Lorenz gets it freed up for Lawton to Carlo, and Brandon Carlo sends it into the zone. Back of the net, it'll come up on the near wing. Gregg trying to get it ahead, and does. And Shane Pinto gets it out at center, and it is deflected down into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley playing it around back of the net for Brandon Carlo. Back for Riley. Riley pumps it around the boards. It'll get to the line. The battle ensues right at the blue line. Won by Toronto, and Lorenz starts out at center ice. He'll get to the red line and backhand it high into Ottawa territory, and the Leafs are changing. 8 minutes to play, second period. All of the scoring in the first. 2-0 Toronto. Riley and Tavares are the goal scorers. Near boards off the wall, and now Matthews. A rink-wide feed for Marner. Marner's in over the line, and jumping into the rush is Benoit. Benoit playing it around back of the net to Matthews. Back to the blue line. It'll come to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Down into the corner again. Matthews couldn't get to it. Jamming in there is Nyes. Back of the net. It's going to be played to the blue line. Bouncing, but kept in by the Leafs. And now Marner has a go-off a skate, and it'll come to center ice, and Shabbat carries to the Leafs zone. Dished off on the right wing for Ridley Gregg. Gregg turns it back into the corner now for Pinto. Pinto centering in front, and it comes all the way back to the blue line to Shabbat. Shabbat goes to his defense partner. A shot goes off a leg wide. Into the corners, Amadio. Amadio getting it back to the point. D to D. Jensen to the near side. Shabbat in traffic. A shot. Stopped by Stolarz. Wrapped around the tip. And it went wide. And the Leafs are breaking out on the right wing. Trying to get to center ice is Tavares. And he'll get to the red line and the blue line and send it into Ottawa territory. 6:49 left to play in the second period. Down into the Toronto end. Stolarz plays it into the corner to defense, and up on the wing it'll find Nylander. Off his stick and into Ottawa territory. Zub back at the Ottawa goal. Looks for Sanderson and finds him on the left wing. Rink-wide pass, and the Brady Sucks chant is back in style here at Scotiabank Arena. In across the line and down into the Toronto end. Chipped along the boards. The Senators are able to block it in the near corner, but Tanev is in there battling as it comes to Nylander. Nylander trying to chop it out. Didn't get it past the last defender. And now it is pushed to center ice, and Willie almost broke away there. But a good play by Drake Batherson to contain the puck. It comes to the line, but the Senators can't get it into the zone. Dylan Cousins stretches things out back into Ottawa territory. A pass ahead for Tkachuk. Tkachuk stood up at the blue line nicely there by the Leafs. And now the pass comes out at center and to the line. And a hit there takes Robertson to the boards, but he diligently works it down deep into the corner. And a penalty is coming here. Is it to Robertson? Oh, my. Here the Sens in on the left wing with Stützle. Had it poked off his stick, and he slammed to the boards as the puck comes back to the blue line. Penalty coming to the Maple Leafs. Clevin works it back to the blue line. A shot deflects off his stick, and as it's touched here by the Leafs.
High sticking is going to be the call. And they're now trying to find some additional damage as Clevin is trying to sell it as a double minor. I think this barely comes up, but Nick Robertson's been in trouble for this before, Joe. You've got to be in control of your stick. And I mean, this is just, it's more of a combing across the face, but you've got to know where it is. And I don't know what the officials are talking about.
2 or 4, I think.
Yeah, that's not,
Ralphie. 2 or 4.
Not good for the Leafs.
Well, we will take a break and sort it out. Ottawa to the power play. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Penalty kill brought to you by CMC Markets. Take your trading to the next level with $0 commission on stocks. It is a 2-minute minor for high sticking to Nick Robertson. Third power play opportunity of the game for Ottawa. They're 5th in the series. And the draws to the right of Anthony Stolarz with 5:17 to play. In the second period, the Leafs leading 2-0. Tkachuk being waved out. Stützle will move in. And the draw controlled by the Leafs, sent around back of the net and launched out and down the ice by Toronto.
Robertson's for high sticking at 14:43.
Brought on by Sanderson. He drops the puck back. Stützle on the wing to the left wing side for Tkachuk. He closes with a pass in front of the net that was deflected wide. Cousins on the far half boards, playing it back to Stützle. Stützle back to Cousins. Cousins into the slot area. Sanderson at the point, down low into the near corner. Back to Sanderson. Over for Stützle. Stützle looking for a man in front of the net. Batherson was there, but he didn't get him the puck. Stützle with it in the corner. Back to the blue line. It goes to Sanderson. Sanderson near side for Cousins. Back to Sanderson's again. And the stick of Austin Matthews has launched that up into the stratosphere. Well, actually, since Trish Stratus is here, sort of went right up into the stratosphere. Right up. Just kept going. Like way up there in the stratosphere.
You're a little distracted, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah.
You can't blame me. No. Draw to the left in the Toronto zone. Lawton will take the face-off. He and Nyes are the forwards on the penalty kill as it comes back to the point. Kept in by the Shabbat. Centering pass. They score! It went off a skate. And did it go in off Brandon Carlo? Yes, it did.
Well, we just talked about that, didn't we? The longer you spend in your own zone, the odds are Ottawa's going to get a break. Leafs have 2 off a skate in the blue paint. Brady Tkachuk tries to go back door to David Perron. It doesn't get to Perron. It goes off the left skate of Carlo and into the net. And the Leafs have been flirting with disaster all period. And the Senators finally get on the board, out shooting the Leafs 11-3 here in the second, and have cut the lead in half to 2-1.
And it just did trickle over that goal line and off the post and in.
You know, Nick Robertson took a penalty in San Jose, which cost them time in the press box late in the season until David Kampf got hurt. And accidental or not, you can't
take those penalties.
Take those.
No, and not when you're fighting for ice time and not one of the big stars. Here's Tavares, and across the line. Looked like he got hooked there, but it comes around the boards to the near wing. Leafs play it back into the corner, but the Senators are going to get it freed up and brought to center ice with a pass on the left wing for Ridley Gregg. Long shot, well wide of the goal. Karam's to the right wing side, and Batherson is there. Batherson tied up, but the puck goes free. Here's Cousins with it again, trying to play it back to the point. Nylander trying to get it out, and the puck is still free and played into the corner. And now Jensen is tangled up over there with the Leafs forward as it's played up on the wing, but the Leafs still don't get the puck out. And now they will play it down into Ottawa territory and get a much-needed change.
Well, the Leafs have really lost their jump here in the second. He's going to get back to that intensity.
3:13 to play. Now a 2-1 hockey game. And an icing call coming here against Ottawa. They need to get some zone time and get some forecheck going.
Yeah, this is easily their most disappointing period of the playoffs so far. And they've taken 2 penalties to boot. One of them ends up in the first power play goal of the series for the Ottawa Senators. And first ever goal for Brady Tkachuk in the postseason.
Draw to the right in the Ottawa zone. Is scrummed and it comes back to the point. McCabe to Tanev, doesn't shoot it at the net, got it to Matthews, a centering pass, hit a leg, then a drive is whistled high and wide of the Ottawa goal. Kept in by the Maple Leafs, and Marner works out of the corner. Then along the boards for Nyes. Nyes has it chipped around to the far side. McCabe gets there first. Back into the corner for Matthews. Matthews back of the net for Nyes. Plays it to himself, back of the net, tried to center, hit the back of the goal. Kept in by the Leafs and then stolen back by Ottawa, but the break that they looked like they were getting got bogged down when Marner got back in the way. Now Matthews and Tanev take a man down. Well, we're praying for a penalty there that's not coming, and the Leafs now kick it back of the goal, and McCabe is going to alley-oop it through center ice. 2:20 to play in the period. Lead has been cut in half. 2-1 Toronto. In across the line, played back to the blue line, but not out. And a shot is kicked away nicely by Stolars. Chipped back into the near corner. Senators get it back of the net for Tkachuk. McCabe chases him. Someone's broken a stick in the fray here. I think all of the Leafs have cues in their hands. Nylander trying to get it freed up. Gets it to the line, but not out. Another shot coming, and it's blocked in front of the net. And Tanev is there to take it into the corner. Got it on the wing, and Domi is able to play it out at center ice. McMahon is out there Nylander remains out there. Domi steals but couldn't get a shot away. Max works the far half boards. Centering pass for Bobby McMahon. McMahon to the near corner. Taken to the boards there by Clevin. Puck comes out in front of the net. Domi able to steal it. Back to the point. It goes to Riley. A shot. And he fired it high and wide. Brandon Carlo was able to keep the puck in. And the Senators relieved the pressure by sending it high down into the Leaf end, but without icing. 1:13 to go in the period. Carlo sends it around on the boards, and Yarncrook will tip it out into neutral ice. There's the Leafs. Lorenz getting it up on the near boards. Tried to play it ahead and doesn't. Leaves it for Scotty Lott. Lott chips into the far corner. He's the forechecker in there and drapes in there and takes Shabbat down. Leafs are going to keep it in with less than a minute to go in the period. Down in along the boards, trying to come out with it was Yarncrook. They get it along the wall, trying to get it back to Brandon Carlo at the point. 40 seconds left in the period, and it comes free, and now Shabbat for Ottawa. Finds his defense partner, and Nick Jensen will get it out at center and off a stick and down into the Leaf end. Half a minute to go in the period. A long upset by goaltender Stolars, but off the stick of Marner, it goes into the zone. Played around the boards, and the Leafs have to get a defense on there, and now Amadio able to get it in over the line, dropping for Ridley Gregg. Gregg goes around back of the net. Tanev took him out of the play. It goes into the near corner with 10 seconds left in the period. Nyes reading the play rather well, gets it along the boards, and the Leafs just trying to fend for themselves back of the net to let the time run out, and it will.
I mean, the Ottawa Senators, you've proven you could play with the Leafs as they dominate the second period. 2 power plays for Ottawa and an advantage in shots at 13-3. So Leafs somewhat fortunate to be taking a 1-goal lead into the third period. We talk about the ebbs and flows of a series that happens in a game as well, and the Leafs might have simply survived the second period. But from a Toronto standpoint, Joe, they got to be much better in the third, or taking a 2-0 lead is going to seem like wishful thinking.
So it is to Chuck from Giroux and Shabbat on the power play. And the Leafs did not score in the second period after Riley and Tavares tallied in the first. We'll step aside for Jim Taddy and Anthony Stewart. It is 2-1 Toronto in Game 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. After leading 2-0 after 20 minutes on goals from Morgan Riley and John Tavares, both of them scoring their second goals of the postseason. But Brady Tkachuk.
And there's so many of them.
I know.
And then you throw in Walt, who is actually Keith, father of Brady and Matthew. His nickname was Walt because of Walt Tkachuk, the longtime New York Ranger, who I believe was from South Porcupine, Ontario.
Speaking of that neck of the woods, today is the anniversary of me being 17 days old.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. And I was being walked by my father because I was fussing, but he was listening to Foster Hewitt call Bill Barilko's goal. Today is the anniversary of the Leafs winning the Stanley Cup in 1951. And, of course, Barilko was never found for years after a plane crash when he had gone fishing with his dentist, I believe it was. And then they found the plane. And then the Leafs went on the run in the 60s. So.
And then they lost it again.
Yeah. Let's hope we found it again. Anyway, so that is another little piece of history.
Yeah, the Leafs, by the way, 35-1-1 in the 37 times they have led after 2 periods of play. But those 2 losses came late. One was a 2-0 lead they had against San Jose here at home. They ended up losing that in a shootout. And then the other game was in Colorado. They had a 4-3 lead against the Avalanche. Gave up 4 in the third and lost it 7-4.
Hurricanes beat New Jersey 3-1 as the puck is dropped. And the Leafs' other series of interest has Florida out in front of Tampa 2-1. Leafs to the right. Senators to the left as it's deflected down into the offensive zone. Tavares after the puck and along the near boards as it's tipped out at center ice by Tkachuk. And it is grabbed off by Jake McCabe. Rink wide feed. Nylander settles it down to Tanev, to McCabe on the left wing. McCabe getting it up at center, off the stick of Pontus Holmberg and into the zone. Matthews into the forecheck as the Leafs are in the midst of a change. Senators will play it out at center, knocked down there by Toronto's defense and played in over the line, but Benoit is being chased hard here by Stützle, but he pulls his way past Stützle, but a pass goes off a skate, and now a feed into the slot area. Not getting by the defense, though. Great play by Jake McCabe to break it up. Nyes gets it into the offensive zone, and Matthews steals. He's around back of the net, trying to get it in front. It comes back to the point and a shot. Wired by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, possibly 105 feet wide of the net.
Yeah, that's off his stick.
I hope so.
I think that he had it from a prime scoring area. But down an official shot on goal here in the third period for the Leafs. A little more jump, a little more purpose coming out. Now the Matthews line will follow it up. And Nick Robertson, I might suggest, owes the Leafs one here in the third period.
He's out there along with Domi and McMahon. Domi wins the face-off to Riley. Riley sends it off the backboards. McMahon bulls his way back to the net. Comes away with the loose puck. Banks it back to the point. Riley winds and shoots. And it's deflected off the blocker of Ullmark. Up into the screen and out of play.
Well, really the story, the second period, was the Ottawa Senators and Anthony Stolarz. Stolarz the reason the Leafs are still clinging to a one-goal lead here into the third. Like I said, for Linus Ullmark, this is tough. You give up 6 in the first game, 2 in the first period of this game, and then it's all Ottawa. But, like we said, the pressure on Ullmark now is pretty much having to be perfect the rest of the way.
Draw to his right in the Ottawa zone. Draw won by Marner. In front to backhand by Nyes. Went just wide. Played around back of the net for Matthews. Coming out in front. It's in the goal crease. Marner is high stick. Penalty coming here to Ottawa. The puck is shot at the net and gloved by Ullmark. And the Leafs are going to go to the power play after coming so close to gaining the 2-goal lead. And Marner trying to bleed as bad as anybody right now.
Now the referee is also talking to the linesman, and I'm not sure what that conversation might be. Now all 4 of the officials.
Well, we'll wait and see.
They have already surveyed the damage of Mitch Marner. Maybe talking, was this a follow through? Yeah, you know what? It's not a penalty. It's not a penalty. We saw this last night as well. I mean, they can take a look at this. But it's not a penalty. It was a clearing attempt to the left of Ullmark, and the stick comes up and catches Mitch Marner.
Let's hear what it is. Now Kachuk is over chirping with the official as well.
It's Marner showing them the blood. But now they're going to talk again, but I just don't see this being a penalty. Are they?
They're going to look at it.
Yeah, this, and I think what the. I forget what game it was last night. We saw this very similar play, but it was a follow through, which is allowed. And it was the same thing last night. I think it was called a double minor, so they looked at it, or a major, maybe the Montreal game.
Well, it's, but the puck doesn't. Does he? No, he doesn't have the puck. It's a follow through, but he does not.
They determined that the play was a follow through, therefore there's no penalty on the play.
All right. Trying to look at it again. I mean, he misses the puck, but I guess they're still deeming that it was in the act of playing the puck that the stick came up. But, I mean, that's just the rule, right? I don't think a lot of fans that are upset with this would know the exact rule, but
My thought is, how many times, though, do we see the stick come up when you're trying to make a follow-through?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, he didn't make contact with the puck.
Yeah.
That's
or if
issue.
he did, he fanned on it. Yeah.
And so then do you not then have to have control of your stick?
No, I think it's just in the act of playing the puck is what they would say.
All right.
And Nick Robertson gets a high sticking penalty.
Apparently he didn't follow through. So, face-off in the zone, a shot right off the face-off, and that whistle just wide as Marner let it go.
Well, the Matthews line has come out with some jump here early in the third.
Tanev with a pass up ahead for McCabe onto Marner, tried to chip it in over the line, brought back by the Senators, and they play it to the side of the goal. McCabe getting it to the far boards, but not out. Sanderson playing it back in along the boards, and Tanev got there. Nice, read that a little slowly, didn't get to it. The puck is scrummed up the boards on the far side at the half wall. Matthews trying to dig it free. Then Nyes has it in his skates. Then Matthews does get it free to McCabe, who settles things down, waiting for teammates to change. Lead pass. Tavares breakaway in a goal, and it went wide of the net. What a great pass from McCabe. Tavares couldn't come up with it, but it's turned over again, and Nylander backhands it in over the line, but out of the reach of Tavares.
Tavares just didn't have enough speed, did he?
No. Blocked by Nylander, kipped in along the boards. Willie works down into the corner. Senators get it up on the wing, and they'll break it out at center with Batherson. Sending it off on the left wing side, Shane Pinto from an angle, and it's high over top of the goal. Played on the near boards, Tkachuk back to the point. Jensen into the corner, Tkachuk with a shot well wide of the goal. Far side for Shabbat. Shabbat sends it around back of the net. Benoit checking on Tkachuk as it goes back of the net. Senators to the point. Here's Jensen with a shot. That deflects, and the Leafs come away with it, and up on the wing, a pass for Oliver Ekman-Larsson was too far out of his reach. And this is going to turn into an icing and be brought back into the Toronto zone. John Tavares with a great pass by Jake McCabe, and he just lost the handle on it as he went to his forehand to try to elevate it over the pad.
He knew that Jake Sanderson was right on his tail. So he didn't really have an opportunity to load up. Usually with Tavares, you want that shot, right?
Face off to the left in the Toronto zone. The Leafs 2, the Senators 1. Draw 1 by Ottawa. Shabbat back to the far side. Sanderson gives it back to him, and then Shabbat's stick explodes, and the puck is around back of the Toronto goal. Benoit works the boards efficiently there, and Tavares gets it airmailed out at center ice, and hustling after it here is Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg gets it around back of the net. Holmberg sends it to the front of the goal, but it was a weak shot that was easily covered by Omar with the late arrival of the Leafs coming off the bench. And Stephen Lorenz, or is that no, Yarncrook couldn't get there in time.
Hey, Ottawa still seems preoccupied with trying to grab somebody after every scrum, and Leafs are shrugging it off more than anything. I mean, you understand you're trying to protect your goaltender or anything, but this is just more theatrics than it is anything else.
Face off in the circle to the right of Linus Ullmark. Game 3 slated for Thursday night in Ottawa, 7 o'clock. Remember, Maple Leaf fans aren't allowed to go to the game in Ottawa. They told us.
A lot of Montreal fans in there late in the season.
That's right. Draw to the right. Into the corner, and Bobby McMahon one-handing it out in front. He was dragged down, but no call.
Wow.
Brought to center ice now by Cousins. Pass high to the far boards. Sanderson gets there to play it back to the net, but Morgan Riley chipping it along the boards, and now pushed out at center ice and racing after Domi, but he won't get to it in time. McMahon at the red line, tied up there with Artem Zub, and is pushed just into Ottawa territory, and Sanderson will turn it back, and brought out now by Dylan Cousins. Cousins to the Leaf blue line, launches it into the far corner, McCabe got there first, but it's onto an Ottawa stick and a shot. That is blocked by Scotty Lawton. Now back of the net, Lawton punching it into the near corner. McMahon trying to help out along the boards, and Lawton comes out of the scrum with it. He'll get to center ice and shoot it in. Yarncrook will provide forechecking pressure. Clevin takes it around back of the net and then drops it for Stutzla. Stutzla to the near boards. Montepallo at center. Got it to the red line, no further. Leafs shoot it right back in again. Marner will get in there against Clevin, but it's cleared to center ice, and the Leafs have to regain possession. And now it is McCabe taking it deeper into his own zone, getting it around the boards for Nyes. Nyes is behind the back pass, was intercepted, brought on by Claude Giroux. Giroux to the far half boards, dropping it off for Stutzla. Stutzla, a wraparound attempt, doesn't come. Comes back to the point to Shabbat. Now to Stutzla. Stutzla into the slot with a shot, and that went off a body. Boy, there was no room out in front of that net. There were just blue jerseys there. Cleared off the glass. The Leafs will get it to center ice. 14:28 to go in the third. Leafs 2, Senators 1. Tkachuk trying to get across the line, couldn't. And the Leafs Nylander gets it off to Benoit. He's going to shoot it in. He decides then not to go into the forecheck and curls back. Leafs get after it though, and they do get it. And now back of the net for Tavares trying to center. That went off a stick. It's grabbed off by the Leafs and sent right back in again by Pontus Holmberg to Nylander back of the goal. Coming out in front of the net. And a centering pass looking for Tavares went off of the stick of Jensen, and Olmark may have just made his best save of the game right there.
Bit of a fluky play, but Ottawa's already given up 2 goals off his skate, 1 off Jensen earlier. Leafs looking to expand the lead to 2. Can't get it there.
2-1 Toronto, game 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Face-off coming in the Ottawa zone with 13:59 to play in the first period. The Leafs trying to protect a 1-goal lead. Have played a better third period to this point than they did in the second.
Yeah, outshot Ottawa 4-0. Keep doing it. At least maybe draw a penalty, get that power play back out there.
Draw one by Ottawa as they play it around the boards to the near side. Riley pinches to keep it in. They'll have to go back of the net, running into traffic there, and Tavares got it freed up for Pontus Holmberg, but couldn't get it in front. Now Tavares on the boards on the near side, back to Morgan Riley, into the slot for Holmberg, can't shoot it, rolls it in front. That was blocked. There's a bouncing puck in the slot area, and the Senators will get it to neutral ice, but not much further. Tavares trying to find Nylander, but it is back into the Toronto zone. Brandon Carlo stretching things out as the Leafs are changing. Up ahead it comes to Austin Matthews, quickly to Marner, and into the zone on the left wing corner boards it goes. Around the boards it'll go to the far side, and now Batherson will flip it down into the Toronto end, and hustling after it is Dylan Cousins. Cousins in the corner, back to the point, near side for Jensen. Jensen goes D to D on the far side. Shabbat shot doesn't go to the net. It goes off a body. Leafs up against the wall with Tanev. Tanev forces it wide. It comes in front, and it's knocked into the near corner. Nyes getting it ahead, and Matthews a nifty move to gain the zone. In dropping it back for Marner. Marner with a shot. Rebound! Jammed at the net by Nyes, and stopped there by Olmark. Senators get it out at center ice. Nyes sends it back into the zone. Lawton and Yarncrook in the forecheck. Brought out now by Tim Stutzla. Stutzla up on the left wing. Giroux stops it up. Back to the point. It's going to carry him off the boards and come out at center ice. Montepallo drops back into his own zone. Goes D to D with it. Played up on the left wing, a little bit too far for Stutzla, but he's able to get it by the defense. Now trying to cut to the front of the goal, and it's knocked away by the Maple Leafs, and now cleared up on the boards and set out at center ice. Leafs trying to get it into the Ottawa zone, but fail, and Benoit is back in his own end. He'll go to his defense partner, and a long alley-oop looking for Lorenz goes down into Ottawa territory. Didn't have enough to go for icing, but the Leafs were unable to get to it. Now it's chipped right back down into the Leaf end. Stolar's out of the cage. Around the glass it's gone and out at center ice. Robertson along with Domi and McMahon. Puck intercepted by Nicky Robertson. Played into the corner in the Ottawa zone. He's into the forecheck, but misses an edge and goes into the boards. The puck comes back at center, and the Leafs have it again. Off the boards for Robertson. On to Domi. Domi works hard into the right wing corner. Drags it along the boards, waiting for support. Looking for a man to help out. It comes in front, but it is grabbed off by the Senators and played out at center ice. Cadet to the line and in with a weak shot that went well wide. Rebound up on the wing and off to the left wing side. Cousins gets it back to the point. Shabbat back to Cousins in the far half wall. Cousins trying to work into the corner. Too well covered there. Batherson helps out to get it in front of the shot. And that one high and wide. Jensen keeping it in at the point. Into the slot area. Trying to shoot it is Zetterlund, and he went it off a stick and wide. Leafs hemmed in their own end here. Centering pass blocked. Cleared to the line but not out. Kept alive by Ottawa. Leafs doing a job here trying to block shots, and so far it's been pretty good. And now trying to get it out, and they still can't get it out. Played into the corner. Brandon Carlo back of the net for Riley. Down along the boards for Tavares. No panic, but then a bad pass, but it is broken up by the Leafs, and McMahon gets it to the Ottawa blue line. Shot back into the Toronto end. Far side Nyes had it get away from him. It comes around the boards, and it's going to come out at center. Marner gives chase, but he won't get there in time. 10 minutes to go, third period. The Leafs by 1. Zug in on the right side. Drake has it taken away. Nyes to center. He'll shoot it in. Matthews into the forecheck is hauled down. No call. Brought out at center ice again by Ottawa. And that's going to go the length of the ice, and an icing call coming here. It's a good thing that was a follow-through. Hate to think that they'd actually call a penalty.
Well, it was Shane Pinto that ended up taking Matthews down going to the net. Matthews does not have a reputation, Joe, for embellishing to drop penalties.
Well, that one was rather interesting.
They draw the Domi line out to the right of Ullmark.
Draw one by Toronto. Nylander on the near boards into the corner. Riley centers. Actually tried to shoot it to the short side, and it was blocked there by goaltender Ullmark. Senators bring it back at center. They're in need of a change, so they're just sending it into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley, who has scored here his second goal of this postseason. Got it out at center, but the Senators have it at their own blue line. For Giroux. Giroux taken to the boards by Riley. Around to the far side. The puck comes free, and the Leafs. McMahon starts out at center. He's going to chip it in and try to get around the defenseman and gets in on the forecheck, but it's reversed away from him. And Clevin has it around back of the net. His pass finds Giroux at center. To the line. That's a delayed offside as the Leafs go back into their own zone. Mitch Marner had his hand up, so I knew it was a delayed offside. Now on the left wing side comes McCabe, and he's going to backhand it down into the zone. Mitch officiates the game and everything. Played down the ice. Okay, Simone Benoit may have hurt himself trying to skate as slowly as he could back on that icing. He may have pulled something.
I don't know if you can accuse the Leafs of sitting back here in the third period. They're out shooting the Senators 7-0. 11:24 into the third, and the Leafs have reversed the second period.
But haven't been rewarded yet.
Yeah.
Matthews to take the draw. One cleanly by Shane Pinto. Sent around the boards and out on the left wing for Gregg. Ridley Gregg checked into the boards there by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Now Gregg tackles Larsson. Now he gives him another shove. Now Larsson has him up, pinned up against the boards. The puck is in behind the Leaf goal. It's centered in front, and the Leafs come away with it. And Nyes breaks it out at center. He's going to backhand it down into the zone, but Shabbat got in his way, and the puck goes around the boards into the far corner. That came off the stanchion at a strange angle. Blocked at the blue line by Carlo. Kept in there momentarily, but the Leafs are changing. Played up on the right wing side. Here's Zetterlund. Blasted there by Lorenz. And it's cleared back into Ottawa territory. Kept alive there by Lorenz again. And then we get a whistle.
High stick, maybe making contact with the puck.
Zetterlund having a shoving session with Steven Lorenz.
Well, let's put it this way. With what you've let go already here in the third period, you better not be calling those. Pretty good hit by Steven Lorenz.
Yeah, it was
shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder to shoulder. Yeah, he went into the boards hard, and then Batherson came in late on Lorenz. Well, 7:41 to go, third period. Leafs 2, Ottawa 1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Face-off coming in the Ottawa zone to the right of Linus Ullmark.
You know what I'm going to do? Because in the first period, I gave a shout-out to two guys, and the Leafs scored 2 goals.
Okay.
So I hope you're still listening. Lloyd Fremlin and Sault Ste. Marie and Jeffrey Rainey up in Newmarket, Aurora area.
There you go. Glad to see you're not very superstitious.
No.
You are a goalie, and if you're not superstitious and a goalie, there's something wrong with you. You have an issue.
Me and Eddie Lebec. Remember the character on Cheers?
Oh, yeah. Yep. Some repair work being done to the... Now they're opening the door. I think they got an ice issue here. Yep. And they got one of the Scotiabank Arena folks doing a repair job along the boards directly below our vantage point here, just inside the Ottawa blue line. 7:41 to play. Morgan Riley from Nylander and Tavares at 3:43 of the first. Tavares on the power play from Marner and Matthews at 8:20 of the first. Tkachuk from Giroux and Shabbat on the power play at 15:42 of the second. And that's where we are. 2-1.
Yeah, the Leafs have not had a power play since Sue went off on the trip at 8:02, and 18 seconds later, John Tavares banked one in off Nick Jensen's skate.
Boys are still hard at it. Down below us here, right against the boards. Official is keeping a sharp eye on the construction work required. Shots favoring Ottawa 23-17, but the Leafs have outshot the Senators 7-0 in this third period. Again, a reminder to join us on Thursday night from the Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa. And Game 3 between the Senators and the Maple Leafs.
Boy, it looks like they're just ordering more and more snow right from where the Zamboni goes off.
Well, they're heading off. Looks like they're closing the gate. We're ready to go.
It's going to be the Tavares line with Holmberg and Nylander up front. And Riley and Carlo on defense.
Tavares leaning in against Shane Pinto. Draw, scrum in along the near boards. Holmberg couldn't get there. The Senators have exploded to center ice, and then they just shoot it in.
It's a set play, wasn't it?
Played off the boards now for Pontus Holmberg. He sends it off the wall to the left wing side. Shabbat regroups it for Ottawa, and it's going to be brought to center and played to the line. It goes off the foot of Carlo and clears the board, and Joseph Wall has to make a save over there in the end of the Maple Leaf bench.
Unfortunately, but Carlo, his skate was inside the lines, so the faceoff will come into the Leaf zone to the right of Stolarz.
2-1. The Leafs with the lead.
Greg Berube and the Leafs to a man have said it's going to get a lot harder, and it has.
Panthers up 4-1 in Tampa in Game 1. That series taking a long time to get going. Draw to the right of Stolarz. Matthews wins it cleanly. Tanev plays it on the glass, and it gets off. Didn't go off I thought it went off the glove of Jake Sanderson, but apparently not.
Well,
bringing it back.
Chris Tanev.
Wait a minute, they're having a bit of a discussion here first.
Yeah, Chris Tanev is the one that got the attention of the ref, and they're going to reverse it and face off at center ice instead.
Don't argue with my vision from up here, Mr. Ralph. don't you dare argue with my vision from up here.
What about everything else?
Oh, I'm pretty much open for everything, still seeing fairly well. Yeah. Played off the boards to the Leaf blue line and out. And Sanderson back at his own line, gives the puck away, but it's controlled then by Ottawa, and Batherson brings it in, but offside is called. 6:57 to play in the third period. And the face-off coming back into the neutral zone in front of the Toronto bench.
You do like the fact that it's been controlled defense, right? This hasn't been a collapse. This hasn't been sitting back on your heels and weathering the storm.
And running around.
Yeah.
They have been very
smart.
controlled. Yep.
Now, of course, you're still at a point where one bounce ties things up. And you saw it in the second period, got Ottawa closer.
Marner outfights his man to get the puck to McCabe. Off the boards for Nyes. Stolen back, and Matthews will shoot it in. Marner into the forecheck against Shabbat. The puck came free, but Tanev thought better of going after it, and a wise choice it was, as he has it now back in his own zone. Long alley-oop pass to center, but cut off there by Sanderson. Stolen by the Leafs. Nyes works in over the line, but his line mates had gone to the bench. Senators with it in their own zone. Nyes soon to join them on the bench. The Leafs have their fourth line out there with Yarncrook, Lawton, and Lorenz back into the Toronto zone. Carlo around the boards to find Lorenz on the right side, and it is launched into the zone into the left wing corner. Lawton couldn't get to it. Lorenz does, gets it back to the point. Brandon Carlo returns the favor into the slot area, but just out of the reach of Scotty Lawton. And the puck has come all the way back into the Leaf zone, and it'll be handed off there by Stolars, who plays it out at center ice. Yarncrook couldn't come up with it, although he blocked the pass. And now the Senators, Jensen getting it to the line, broken up at the blue line, then Nick Robertson gets to center ice, and he needs to buy the rest of the rink and gets it in. But the Senators have it again. Brought back at center ice quickly now by David Perron. Shot in around the boards. Oliver Ekman-Larsson for Benoit. Played up on the left wing, and Robertson tips to center. Long shoot in, goes wide of the Leaf goal. 5:23 to go. And the Leaf fans now a giveaway there, back of the net by Benoit. It comes back to the point. A shot scores! One of the few mistakes the Leafs have made in their own end on a reverse back of the net. And it's kept in by Ottawa, and Gaudette finds the back of the net on a point shot that had eyes.
Simon Benoit guessed that Max Domi was going to follow him in behind the net. Domi cut across the front of the net, so when Benoit reverses it, it's right onto an Ottawa stick. Stützle pokes it back to the left point, and even though Ekman-Larsson is there with Gaudette, cannot tie up the stick.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Thought they might be looking at something. They had the referee over to talk with the coach, but apparently not.
Why, the danger, right? That second period.
Oh, no.
Hang
on a second.
Timeout for Ottawa.
Timeout Maple Leafs.
Well, Mike Ross says timeout Ottawa.
I think it's the Leafs taking a timeout to look at something here, and I'm not really sure what it is. On the entry, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can think is offside.
Was it tipped with a high stick?
No, it was almost along the ice, was it not? I think the Leafs must be looking at something to see if they're going to challenge, but
Mark Savard,
like a knockdown, high stick. Oh,
was it?
What do they clear? No, I don't think it is.
But did the player coming out touch the puck when he was in the Leaf end? I don't know if they could call that in retrospect.
It looks like we're playing on 2-2.
Yeah. Okay. 2-2. 5:10 to play, third period. And now the Leafs have got to get their business in order as it's brought in by Willie. Nylander down into the corner. Overskated it, and the Senators will try to backhand it, and they do. Out and down the ice. Brandon Carlo hoping it'll go over the goal line, but it doesn't. Played around back in the net for Riley, who gets knocked down. Riley back on his skates, trying to play it up the boards. The scrum continues, and the Leafs try to get it freed up on the boards. Tavares couldn't get it out. Stützle centers in front of the net, and the Leafs will play it off the boards and down the ice, and this will have enough to go for icing. 4:35 left, third period. A 2-2 tie, the Leafs and the Ottawa Senators.
And really, you look at all 4 goals, and they're all playoff goals, right? Throw it to the net, get traffic in front. No highlight reel markers, but 4 important goals split evenly.
Draw one by Ottawa. Chabot got around Nylander into the corner but couldn't center. He goes around back of the net with it though. Chabot back to the blue line. Stützle with a drive that was blocked by Tavares, and then he blocks another shot. Puck to the side of the goal. Here's Giroux coming out of the corner with it. Sends it towards the nets. Knocked away there by Stolars. Tkachuk in the corner. Round back of the net. Brandon Carlo unable to reach it. Played in along the boards. The Leafs get it to Carlo, who gets it out. And Tavares, trying to outmuscle his man, had to go in over the line. And it'll be Riley going to the puck as the teams are changing. Morgan Riley waving at the bench as the pass comes ahead off the stick of Nyes, but he couldn't get it ahead. Now he plays it back, and it is McCabe going back to the goal for Toronto. He ran into the forecheck there of Amadio. Amadio comes out of the corner with it, got it to the line, but not out. It goes to the side of the goal. Into the corner now for McCabe with Amadio. Amadio checked. McCabe can't get to the puck. Played to the blue line, kept in by Sanderson. Sanderson shot! That was a seeing eye one that went wide, and or at least Stolars never did see it till he heard it. Off the inboards. Sanderson into the corner. Round on the boards again, near side for Zub. Zub holds, played it back in around back of the net. Riley got it freed up, and now here's McCabe starting out of his own end. Could have been a slash there, but no call. Nyes is in, tried to get it into the slot. He does. Passes in front of the goal. Oh, and it trickled just wide of the net. Senators in their own zone. Matthews steals it along the boards with Nyes. Marner was upended. No penalty. Into the corner and unable to get to it. And it's cleared high and into the crowd. Into the crowd.
They might have to call this one. Another discussion. I don't think this goes off anything. But so far, the referee huddles have not been kind to the Leafs.
Nyes with a great chance. And a great save made there by Ullmark. But is this...
2:43 to go here in the third period of a tie game. Is it delay a game? And it is so difficult to reverse the call. Whatever way it goes, it's so difficult to get an angle on it.
They waved it off. They've waved it off. We're going to commercial break with 2 minutes and 43 seconds left to play in the third period. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050, Maple Leafs Radio Network. No penalty. Face-off coming in the Ottawa zone to the right of Linus Ullmark. 2:43 to play third period, and this game is tied 2-2.
Time of year when you need a hero.
Tavares, Nylander, and Domi, the forward line for the Maple Leafs. And everybody moving early in the face-off circle, and Domi's going to have to take the place of Tavares. And now Pinto is waved out of the face-off circle. Lecture being given. The puck goes off a stick into the near corner. played by Zub along the boards, but there's a traffic jam there as it goes free to the left wing corner, and Ridley Gregg has skating room to his liking to come to center and flip it into the Toronto end, and now changes coming for Ottawa. Back of the net now is Morgan Riley. Off on the wing it goes. Rink-wide pass off the skate of Nylander, and he gets it back again. Willie into the slot, a shot, and that was kicked away by Olmark's right pad. Giroux being hounded by Tavares as it comes to center ice and played off onto the right wing side for Stützle. Nice move to gain one zone. Gets it off on the left wing side for Tkachuk. Taken to the boards efficiently there by Tanev, but the puck comes back to Stützle. Back into the slot now for Jensen. His shot, pad save, big rebound. Stützle couldn't settle it down. Centering pass, back to the point it comes. Shabbat over to Jensen. Jensen holds, gets it down into the corner off his stick. Leafs looking for an outlet. Play it to the line on the near half boards, but not out. Tavares, and now the Leafs get the puck to the line and out. Here's Batherson. Right back in for Ottawa. Shabbat dropping it off. A shot. Oh, and a save made by Stolarz.
Leafs got caught backing in, standing still. And Stolarz has to bail them out as Dylan Cousins got some room, taking it to the net from the left wing circle, trying to go far side, glove side. Before that, Willie Nylander had a chance. Kind of bounced into the right pad of Linus Ullmark.
Draw one, and a shot by the Senators went wide of the net. Kept into the corner with 1:22 to go in the third. Pontus Holmberg up ahead for Marner. Marner to Matthews with Nyes. He's across the line. Matthews to the right wing board, sends it to the net, and it's wide. Kept in by Benoit. Down into the corner now for Nyes. Nyes trying to tie it up, but couldn't come away with it. The Sens get it out at center. Carried through center ice with Sanderson. Now on the wing for Batherson, closing at the side of the goal. The rebound up on the left wing, and Nyes trying to get to it. Got it by one. Nyes in on the left wing, but running out of real estate. Gets it into the corner. Centering pass, Matthews. Back to shot. That was stopped off the stick of Yardcrook. It didn't make the net. What a setup by Matthews, though. 38 seconds left in regulation. Zetterlund to the red line and shoots it into the Toronto end. Played to the line. Played off the glass then by Lawton. Leafs can't get to it. Back in on the wing on the left wing side. Drag into the corner. Bang to the boards there by Tanev. Puck is in against the end boards with 11 seconds left in the period. Played around the boards into the near corner. Lorenz got there first. The Leafs are going to get it out. This game is going to overtime, folks.
Well, I got to remember, I haven't written it down, 5 overtime games between these two clubs. Ottawa winning one of them in Ottawa. Mike Fisher scored. I think that it was a Game 6 overtime goal that sent it back to Toronto for Game 7 in this building. Well, Matt Sundin also scored in Ottawa in a 1-0 game in Game 1.
Corey Cross.
In this building, Corey Cross, Steve Thomas, and Gary Roberts. And Roberts was double overtime or triple overtime? Off a face-off down to our right. So the Leafs have had success in the history of the Battle of Ontario. Let's see if those ghosts can make an appearance here in Game 2.
Riley and Tavares scoring in the first. Tkachuk in the second. And Gaudette on a seeing eye shot in the third sends this game to overtime. We've got a series, folks. It is a 2-2 tie. We'll step aside as Jim Tandy is joined by Anthony Stewart. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. The goal scorers in the first period, Morgan Riley and John Tavares on the power play. And it was Tkachuk and Gaudette with a bit of a seeing eye shot from the point that eluded Anthony Stolarz that has sent this game into extra time. They'll change ends, and the Leafs will defend the goal down to our left. And the Senators to the right. It's been a while since we've done a overtime game, I guess. Hey,
yeah. Now all four goals in this game have been deflections. right? Throw it to the net. And they banged in, and you get the feeling that that's probably going to be the way this one's going to end. That it's not going to be pretty. And we can say, just through memory, that when the Leafs have won overtime games here against the Ottawa Senators in the Battle of Ontario, all 3 goals have come to our right? Gary Roberts, Corey Cross, Stevie Thomas.
John Tavares huddling everybody at the blue line before this face-off. A late start, 7:30, and it's going to be a later evening. Way past my bedtime. They're ready at center ice. Official time to get everybody sorted out. And the puck is dropped, and we're underway. The disc played in over the Toronto line, flipped towards the net, but Morgan Riley is there to bank it off the boards and get it out at center. Ottawa to the near boards for Sanderson. Off the stick of Stützle into the Toronto end. It goes around back of the net. Played up on the wing. Pontus Holmberg tied his man up, but Stützle comes off the boards with it. Still has it. Stützle back to the point. Zub with a shot that went off a body and comes to center ice. Good block there by Pontus Holmberg. Leafs are getting a change going. Sanderson starts out with a pass to Stützle. He has stood up, and it's cleared in over the line, and the Leafs, Carlo, looks to get it ahead and finds Nylander, who plays it deep into Ottawa territory. Goaltender gives it back to Chabot. Into the corner then for Nick Jensen. Jensen along the boards, and it's lifted high into neutral ice. Knocked out of the air by Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Played off the boards to the line and out for Matthews. Matthews has it go off a body. It'll be played on the glove by Benoit, and Benoit gets it in over the line, and it's offside, or is it icing? Bit of a collision there with Benoit and Ridley Gregg.
Well,
it looks like it's going to be an icing call, yeah.
Every little play gets exaggerated here in overtime.
Face off in the circle to the left of Anthony Stolars. Matthews to take the draw. Number 1 line out there for Ottawa as well. And everybody moving a little early. They'll do it over. And the puck is dropped, and the Sens win it cleanly. At the point, and a wrist shot deflects just wide of the Leaf goal. Marner unable to get to it cleanly. It's down into the corner for Stützle. Stützle around back of the net, coming out, and a shot is stopped. Where's the puck? It's grabbed off by Matthews. He finds Marner, who saucers it ahead for Nyes. Nyes trying to play it into the zone, had it blocked. Marner gets it in over the line, but can't make a pass in front of the net. Lawton is over the boards as the Leafs get it to the line, but not out. Kept alive by Scotty Lawton. Lawton with a wrist shot that went high and wide of the Ottawa goal. Senators get it out at center, and now Lorenz to the far side, and it's ripped right back down into Ottawa territory. Cleared around back of the net for Nick Jensen. Jensen to the far side, intercepted by the Leafs, but they can't get a pass in front of the net. Now a lead pass goes off an Ottawa player, and an icing call is coming here against the Sens. It'll be back in Ottawa territory. 4th line does what it needs to do and gets a face-off in the offensive zone, and Tavares and company coming over the boards.
It's been a real... Now you've got Holmberg back out with Nylander and Domi. I mean, they've rotated everybody, right? Trying to find a mix here in the Tavares line with Nylander, whether it's Domi, Yarncroc, Holmberg.
Draw one cleanly by the Leafs. At the point, Riley, a shot that's blockered high off the glove of Ullmark and into the screen. The whole mindset here is get the puck to the net. Get it to the net.
Remember Morgan Riley scoring an innocent-looking shot off the left wing boards against Tampa a couple of years ago in overtime. It went short side on Andrei Vasilevsky.
And remember Morgan Riley standing in front of the net when John Tavares scored in overtime against Tampa. Rolls in on goal off the face-off and quickly covered by Ullmark. And you usually see the chippiness and the gamesmanship end here in overtime because you just can't possibly take a stupid penalty. Draw to the right. Scrummed by Tavares. Grabbed by the Sens. And Ottawa get it out at center ice. The Leafs trying to get it back. Tavares was slow getting to the bench and getting out of his own end, out of the offensive zone. Now the Senators send it down into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley pushes it out into neutral ice. Senators, Sanderson to the line, brought in by Ottawa. Long shoot in, easily gloved there by Stolars. And
no.
Did he stop play, or was there something else going on?
No,
he stopped play. Yeah,
he held on to it, and he had 3 players.
Yeah, ample
right
time to play it. Yeah. So a face-off again in the Toronto zone, and each one of these is such an important piece of the equation. Max Domi will take this face-off. And it was Cousins who's waved out. So Batherson moves in for Ottawa. And Domi wins it cleanly. Along the boards, chipped up on the wall. McMahon couldn't get to it. Played ahead now by the Leafs, and they have a 3-on-2 break. At center ice is Domi. In on the wing, he gets to the line, a shot. And he wristed it at the net, and that was stopped by Omar. Domi back of the goal, trying to tip it to the near boards. Robertson back to the point. Just kept in by Oliver Ekman-Larsson, but quickly brought to center ice now by Ottawa. Batherson into the slot, intercepted by Benoit. Benoit carries back for Toronto. He's in over the line, dropping for Max. Max into the slot, shooting, scores! Max Domi scores for Toronto in overtime. The Leafs win it 3-2.
Simon Benoit, who had the giveaway on the tying goal by the Senators in the third period, leads the rush into the Ottawa zone. Drops it back for Max Domi. It looks like Domi is going to lose control of it, but follows it into the high slot and rips one high under the crossbar to give the Leafs the 3-2 win in Game 2 and a 2-0 series lead. But Simon Benoit, you kind of thought, give it to Domi earlier. Instead, he took it all the way into the Senators' zone. And then the Leafs got lucky because there were a couple of flybys in front of Ullmark. And I think, was it Simon Benoit went to the front of the net and jumped as Domi let it go. So Simon Benoit will pick up an assist on the winner and went right to the net to provide the screen.
Batherson skated right by it.
Yeah, just missed it. So it only takes 3 minutes and 9 seconds for the Leafs. And like we've said, now Max Domi can join Gary Roberts, Steve Thomas, and Corey Cross.
And hey, Dad, your kid scored a big goal tonight.
Yeah, who would have thought back then would be saying, I bet you one of their kids will score a goal in one of these series.
Well, Max was not very big back then.
Yeah, but what we did see as well is Ottawa can play. You know,
sure. It's going to be a good series.
Yeah, they knew